Iceland's capital Reykjavik on a chilly Sunday morning in January. We're invited to Mass given today by one of the female priests of the largest congregation in the city. She's one of many fighting to increase the number of women in Iceland's National Lutheran Church. They also want to neutralize gender in the state religion's theology and speech.
If we want to express faith or God, we have to do it in a way so that everyone can feel included. God is not like a woman or a man or a mother or a father. So I have now started to talk about God as it. But at the same time, I think it's important that we talk about God as she and he, not only he as we do in the Icelandic Church. So when I use these forms, I use she when I can. And what I would like to change is the women's role in the church parliament and the governing body of the church. We are only like 20% women in these groups, and this is where we decide everything. This is the most, there's the power.
The next day, the minister delivers testimonies from 64 female priests to the Bishop of Iceland, who's also a woman. The priests say they were victims of sexual harassment or assault and are thus joining the Me Too movement. Women's activism is ingrained in Icelandic society. The country has been at the top of the World Economic Forum ranking on gender equality for 9 years. In January, a new law came into effect. It requires private and public companies with more than 25 employees to pay men and women equally and prove it or pay fines. It's the first such legislation in the world, but it's nothing new for the CEO of IKEA Iceland. As part of a pilot program, his company pioneered the law 5 years ago. As well as gender parity, it also covers discrimination related to ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, and disability. Here, half the workforce is female. Whether in marketing, finance, sales, purchasing, or logistics, the majority of managerial jobs are held by women.
Here we have the logistics. It used to be male only, now it's female only. Okay, here we have the sales department. Here we have 3 girls who are running the show, all the sales of the whole company.
I started in 2007 as a part-timer actually. I was working with school. I have got all the opportunity I need. I think it's no different if you're a man or a woman. We have same salary, same for everything. So.
For Thor Everson, equality is good for business.
I think it's absolutely impossible for the long term to have a profitable company unless you have your staff happy. And if half your staff is not happy, it's absolutely impossible to have a decent business. Happy staff, they are producing more, they're selling more, and it's making a better day for everybody here.
This video is a clip from a campaign launched several years ago by one of the main Icelandic unions. It's part of an initiative to reduce gender disparity in wages and career advancement. But the new law doesn't mean the battle has been won.
It's imprinted in our culture that men should be paid more for same jobs as women. We also have the legislation on boards of company should be equal for men and women, equally divided. So still we are having problem to find women who are willing to be board members of companies and institutes. We will have to keep the fight always going, because we have seen when we stop, the gap will increase.
It's a fight that's been going on for some time. Thorgador was part of the organising committee of the so-called Women's Day Off. On October 24th, 1975, 90% of Icelandic women stopped all activities and protested throughout the country in a bid to claim their rights.
Symbol here. And women, they came from all directions, like rivers. They united in like a big ocean in the square. It was very impressive, all those women shoulder to shoulder. I think this was a sort of foundation we are building on, and it was the unity.
Since then, the Women's Day Off has been held several times. In 2016, Icelandic women stopped working at 2:38 p.m. sharp to protest the persistent wage gap between men and women. On average, women earn 16% less than their male counterparts. The persistence of Icelandic women is the legacy of a century of feminist struggle and women's strong presence in the labour market. But that's not all. Geography is also a factor.
So what would you say are the reasons of such mobilization? Would you say there is a specific Icelandic element to it?
I think that the smallness of the country contributes to this in a way, because we have this, with the smallness come these close ties, networks, connections, and we have a very easy and fast flow of information. So women can activate, they can mobilize within a very short time.
This mobilization has also contributed to the strong presence of women in politics. In 1980, Iceland was the first country in the world to elect a female president. In 2009, in the wake of the financial crisis that brought down the government, a woman became prime minister for the first time in Iceland. And just last year, Katrin Jakobsdóttir, a charismatic figure from the Left Green Party, took the reins of the executive branch. She was elected after a paedophile scandal brought down the previous government. At the same time, the number of female MPs fell from 48% of parliament to just 38%. In Iceland, parity is also about men's rights. We meet Hjalmar at the shoot of a comedy video he's making for social networks.
Usually I work at a family company, but my mostly work now is entertainment. So I'm going to be like in paternity leave now for 6 months almost. I'm also taking a vacation, so I will be with my boy for 8 months total, only in Iceland. Come here, let's go.
In Iceland, both parents are entitled to 3 months of parental leave each, plus 3 months to share. Hjalmar will be taking care of his 8-month-old son full-time. His partner has just returned to work at a major Icelandic bank.
In the beginning, when they are like growing and getting to know things and learning themselves, it's good for me to get the connection.
I was on maternity leave in the beginning, so I took care of everything, and now I have to leave the house and I have to hand over the title to him. And for me, it's really important that I can turn back to my job and still have my job and have high salaries, as high as the man. And then we have to have equal rights in every single section of the country. It can't be just that we get the same payment. We also both have to be able to be at home, and it's normal.
Nonetheless, in 60% of cases, it's still women who take most of the 9 months parental leave. That's because parents on leave get 80% of their salary. And on average, men's wages are higher than women's. In Iceland, gender equality is also taught at school. Hanna Björg Williamsdottir was the first to launch a class dedicated to gender issues at this high school 10 years ago. The compulsory subject is now on the curriculum at 27 of the country's 33 high schools.
We analyzed the society together and tried to see how and why the sexes are discriminated. And my aim is to first of all to realize that it is a fact, because not all of them are aware or haven't realized. You know, they just think that this is how it should be. I saw that this was really empowering for them to realize the stereotypes. But the final aim is that they will be happier people. Happier people make a good society.
I was in the 3rd grade. I thought that I was gay.
On the agenda today, homophobia. Just a few days before, one of the school's students had been beaten up in the street for being gay. In class, no topic is off limits, and students appreciate the chance to learn.
It's a lot more important than a lot of the other stuff we're learning in school, like just, I guess, biology, you know, plant biology. No, I don't think we're ever going to be able to actually use that. But I think gender studies are something that we have to deal with every single day, in pretty much every situation with people in them.
I think that there will not be equality nowhere in any society if the school system is not an active part in it. We mold their ideas here. So we plant seeds here, you know.
Planting the seeds of equality at an early age. This is what Margaret Palla Olafsdottir has been doing for nearly 30 years. She founded the so-called Hjalli method, applied in some 20 nursery and primary schools in Iceland. The principle? To separate boys and girls in order to allow them to flourish fully. The activities are the same for everyone. Toys, educational tools and clothes are unisex. Once a day, boys and girls meet up to practice what they've learned. Olafsdottir says the method helps children avoid stereotyped behaviors she says are inevitable in mixed classes.
We want the girls to go out of the safe zone. We want to teach them to be noisy, to teach them to scream and jump and take place, you know, use their voice. We want them to be both social and also individually strong. And with the boys, we want them also to be more socially qualified. If you are really helping them to be the best individual they can be, so there is nothing boyish, nothing girlish. They are all capable of individual qualities and social qualities. That's what we want. Then we will meet up as a whole persons.
Being 100% is what the 15 members of the Reykjavik Tour, or Daughters of Reykjavik group, are all about. They're an artists' collective and an exclusively female rap band, gradually imposing itself on the very masculine world of rap.
We just made a space for us in a scene, music scene, and a genre that didn't leave much space for us.
We're doing exactly what we want without apologizing for it on stage. I think feminism today is about not only, you know, taking your space, but being unafraid of being the entire spectrum that is being a woman, just not the pretty side or the sexy or, you know, just taking the entire rainbow. Because we do live in a structured society which is keeping us below, you know, we're not, it's a fact.
The artists sometimes get involved in activism, like this UN campaign on violence against women. But for them, just existing is what matters.
I didn't join the band for the feminine side, I just joined for the party and rapping, you know.
The most feminist thing is just being, just doing what we're doing.
To do whatever you want and say whatever you want to say.
We can also party. You know, it's not always about them. We can too, you know.
It's a feminist thing.